Thank you very much indeed, Michael. Some interesting ideas there. Call now on Claire Staunton from Circulator, and Claire is the operations manager. They're an email solutions provider, and Claire is going to chat us a little bit about how to keep things simple, I believe.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just firstly, I'd like to start by saying it's actually great to see an event like this being held, because it probably would have really helped us a couple of years ago when we started our journey. So I'll just talk a little bit about myself and Circulator before I start talking about the project and how we implemented it. My background is originally from product and manufacturing design. I would have looked after the manufacturing in a small surgical simulator company, but about 6 or 7 years ago I upskilled into IT or software, and I've been working for Circulator ever since. Circulator is an Irish-owned company. It was set up in 2007 by Don Farrell, who I believe is sitting somewhere in the room. We're a small-based company. We originally offered an email self-service application. We own and develop our own software, and as we evolved or naturally matured as a company, we found a niche in how we work with customers, and we moved away from offering self-service to really providing integrated business solutions for our customers. So generally how we work with our customers is we would go in and we'd understand how their business currently operates. We'd see opportunity within their business operations, and we try and solve some problems that they have. That would be anything from automating business processing, which would obviously be through our email platform, and customized solutions towards our business, our customers' unique requirements. Some people always ask us, what's the deal with email, or why is email so important? Well, one of our customers generated over €100 million via sending emails through our platform last year. So the relevancy of email can be extremely powerful for our customers. So just to give you guys an idea of the flavour of types of customers we work with, all of our customers actually have completely different solutions implemented with us, and they can range from fully managed services, co-managed services, full business processing automation around email, marketing automation, lifecycle automation, and API integration. So as I mentioned before, all of our customers have unique implementation with Circulator. So when I was asked to speak here today, I started thinking about how this might have helped us a couple of years ago when we started the journey. And I suppose my theme throughout the next couple of slides is how to keep it simple. So as I'm referencing through the documents, I'll try to reference as much as possible to our experiences and give you examples. But today, the 4 things I'm going to be covering are what to expect when you begin your journey or before you begin your journey, how to keep it simple, right size approach, and then probably most importantly, the benefits of becoming ISO 27001 certified. As I mentioned before, we are a small business, so it's a little bit different slant on most of the talkers here today. We do have 12 staff members, so for us to become ISO 27001 certified was a big thing for us, a huge achievement, and it can be implemented in small businesses as well as large. So I hope I can appease to both small and large companies that might be in the business. So before I start off here, I'd just kind of like to get a hands up of potential businesses or people in the crowd that have either started the journey or beginning to do it or are not yet certified. So do we have many people in the room? Great, it's good to see. So hopefully you guys can learn a little bit from our experience of implementing 27001 in Circulator. So before you begin your journey, obviously some of you might have started already, but a big question is to ask yourself, why are you doing this? Is this the right standard for your business? So there's multiple standards out there at the moment. And really importantly, what is your success criteria? So for example, I think a couple of the previous speakers have mentioned that it took between 9 and 12 months for them to become certified, but it was a much longer journey for Circulator given the fact that we are such a small business. It took us roughly between 16 to 18 months to reach our certification. And I think a lot of that was a huge learning curve at the beginning of our process, really, getting our heads around the standards. The next thing is to understand the importance of an information security management system. Why is this a requirement and why is this a need in your business? Then I think it was mentioned before by Stephen maybe, to ensure that management understand the importance. So it's not only, obviously management have to agree and get on board, but they really need to understand the importance of implementing an ISMS. So top management might not always be involved in the day-to-day of the management system, but they really need to understand the importance of it in the business. Another thing to do before you begin your journey is to identify the direct benefits and positive impacts achieving this certification will bring. And this is essentially going to help you sell the idea to management or whoever you need to convince that this is the right standard for you to implement in the business. A big thing then also is to estimate the project budget. So, I mean, there's obviously an upfront cost to implementing the standard, from internal resources, costs to potential consultants, the audits themselves, the certification itself. But another thing that maybe in a small business might not be considered at the outset is the sustaining costs. So as people have mentioned before, it's not like when the project's over, then that's the end of the standards. Essentially, there's obviously a resource requirement and there is a financial cost with an ongoing certification. So this really needs to be considered at the outset as well. Okay. Sorry, so how to keep it simple. I think a big thing to do throughout the journey and after you've been certified is always to focus on the outcomes and the objectives that you were originally set at the beginning of the project. You need to understand why you're doing the certification, and make a choice that suits your business size as to how your security standards are achieved. So always consider and plan how you can assess, measure and continuously improve what you're doing. And a big thing for 27001 is evidence. So evidence is key throughout your standards and your controls that you implement within your business. Another thing for keeping it simple is, especially for a small business, is to really understand what documents and what controls are mandatory and what are optional. So not everything is going to be relevant to your business, and you really need to identify that and keep it simple so it's easy for you guys to maintain and implement. A big thing that we found was in a small business, there's got to be lots of processes and procedures already in place before you actually implement something like 27001. So a really good starting point is to actually see what processes and procedures you have in place, and you might find that a lot of the processes are in place that will make you compliant with the standards, but you might just not have them documented correctly. So we would have had lots of processing in place, from customer onboarding to development process to data transfer, but it might not have been documented in the right manner for us to be compliant. So you'll probably find there's a huge amount of work already there. It's just it needs improvement to help you move up the curve to become compliant. After you've identified your processes already in place, then you need to identify any gaps. So what have you got and what you need to do or what you need to implement to bring your business up the curve. And then the last thing around keeping it simple is to proactively assess and review your procedures. So again, I'm just going back to the evidence. It's really important to always show evidence of your reviews and what you're actually, if you have, for example, your risk assessment, so you need to show evidence that you're continuously risking or reviewing the risks in place. Another thing, and something we probably slightly unfortunately did, but is to not over-engineer your solution. So try and keep it simple for your business, and do not over-engineer your solution. We probably over-engineered it slightly from a document management control, but I suppose it's something now that we have to continue to deliver. But we are at the moment working to improve and reduce our documents that are already in place. So right size approach, and again, this is really key for us, Circulator, because we're a small business, so you need to always consider the standards and the size of your business and really look at the right size approach towards your business. So a couple of things that can help you do this is to share the ownership throughout the company. So try to avoid over-reliance on one or two key staff members. Sometimes this is unavoidable in small companies, but if this is unavoidable, just make sure you risk assess the ownership throughout the process. For example, if a business is solely reliable on one person to ensure the information management system was operational and adhering to the standards, what would happen if the key person could no longer perform their duties for whatever reasons? And this is a question that every company, large or small, really should be asking themselves. So would the management system quickly fall apart if one key member was unavailable to work, or is there contingencies in place for people as well as processing? Again, it really is it's a company-wide project, and sometimes implementing ISO 27001 standards can change the outline of an organisation and responsibilities that staff members might have before and after the project has been implemented. Another thing to do, and this was a big learning thing for us, was to keep documentation to a minimum. I'm talking about digital documents here, but my advice would be to compile as many documents compile as many controls as you can into one document where it makes sense. So, for example, from a staffing point of view, you need to document segregation of duties, access control, user responsibility, and user management. So it makes sense that you would combine all these documents or these controls together in one, rather having 4 documents that your staff members need to see. So what we did in Circulator was we created an employee ISMS handbook. Obviously our staff members have an employee handbook, but this handbook was specifically around the controls and the procedures that we implemented to achieve our standards. And this allowed the staff to be aware and adhere to all these controls, and it also gave them easy access to all the controls that we had put in place. Then the last thing is, and I think this is probably the most important thing when we're thinking about right size approach, is to ensure what you have said you will do is manageable. So do not say for the sake of something that you're going to do X, Y, and Z if it's not something that you actually would need to do in a business. So for example, in Circulator, we release once a month. So we do 3 weeks of development and 1 week of testing, 1 week of releasing. So it would have been crazy for us to say, oh, we're going to document 4 releases every month. So always make sure you say what you or do what you say you're going to do, you will. And then the last thing, is staff. So ensure staff are obviously trained and educated, but I think the bigger thing is for the staff members to really understand the benefits of certification. So obviously in either large or small businesses, people generally don't like change. And that's something that everybody has to overcome, regardless of the size of the business that you're in. But I think it makes it a lot easier when the staff members actually understand the benefits of controls and procedures and processes that the company are putting in place, because there is a lot of controls and processes around 27001. But if the staff members understand the benefits of it, you're going to get an easier onboarding with your own staff members. I suppose what might initially be alien to your business around these standards will just come part and parcel of your day-to-day, and it'll just be embedded within your business. So just moving on to the benefits of certification. So one, your business is going to keep compliant with world-class standards as well as legislations. It'll also, by having regular risk assessment and audits, it'll naturally reduce or minimise any security breaches that could potentially happen. Keeping your information safeguards your business's reputation. So for Circulator, it's not just about integrity and security or confidentiality. I suppose availability is also a big thing for us. For one of our customers, we would send 1.5 million emails in one single send, so it's extremely important that data is available and our application is always up and readily to use. Other benefits from becoming certified is it separates you from your competitors during tendering or sales process, which also helps fast track the customer's decision making process. I sat in a sales meeting earlier on this year, and their IT security manager actually told us that us being certified made the decision a lot easier, and we actually won the business. So, we've really benefited from being certified. And another big thing for us is we work with a lot of companies in the financial or utility space, and as mentioned previously, they like to audit their suppliers as well. So we would be continuously audited by our customers, but being certified and having the policies and processes in place, it actually makes the internal audits a lot easier. Sorry, I'm going. I'll just finish up here now. So just to summarise, prepare and understand your success criteria. Throughout the certification process, stay focused on the outcomes and make sure you do not over-engineer your management system. Ensure the ownership is shared throughout the company from the top down where relevant. And I suppose then the benefits are real. As long as you properly implement and sustain your management system, the benefits will be evident. So just to finish up, I suppose, again, back to the team, remember to keep it simple. So we all know if you put quality controls in place with software, you'll get a better product. So in business, by implementing 27001 controls, you'll naturally get more out of your resources, increased customer retention, which leads to better margin and increased profit. And just to finish on why Circulator actually decided 27001 was the right certification for us. We knew it would add a layer of trust and comfort for our customers. It would improve our current business processes, and most importantly, it was to win new business. So our certification allows us not only to go after much bigger contracts, but it actually helps us to win them. So I'm actually around for the rest of today, and if anybody wants to have a chat, my details are here, but I will be around as well. Thank you very much.